Hello, everyone. Thank you for being there. I'm Gauthier, or Zup. I'm the CEO and co-founder of nonfungible.com, and we are about to have a global overview of what's going on the NFT market. So the goal of today's presentation is just to explore if NFTs are a bubble. Is there a market crash? Is there only speculation? So yeah, we'll try to answer these questions. I don't know if you ever heard about nonfungible.com. So we are basically the largest data platform about NFTs. So what we do is we track market history on the Ethereum blockchain for now, but we are about to track all the other flow, wax, the blockchain, the Binance Smart Chain, Ronin, and so on. We work closely with a lot of these media. So if you look at an article on Forbes or Reuters that speak about NFTs, there are most chance that the data are coming from nonfungible.com. I think you've heard about this global idea that NFTs are just a bubble. So maybe just to start with that, can you just raise your hand if you own an NFT? Oh gosh, yeah, that's good. I guess that most of you own the NFT ticket to enter FCC. That's an NFT, definitely. So we have seen a lot of articles recently about the NFT market crash, about the bubble bursting. We've seen so many of them. And one of the articles went pretty viral just because they explained that they had found exclusive hidden data about the NFT market crash. And that was kind of surprising for us because these data were coming from our platform, and we have never seen any market crash. So we were just confused about how media, how people can just look at our data and see a market crash. So we've spent a lot of time just trying to understand what's going on and why people think that the NFT market has crashed, and so on. So let's look at the market evolution. So basically, you have all the data from 2020 to 2021, so basically the first semester of 2021. And what you can see is that, of course, there was a peak. I mean, if you look at that, at this peak at something like 300 million traded per week, that's absolutely crazy. But that's just a peak. The global trend is definitely increasing. So compared to a year and a half ago, the NFT market is just huge. I mean, a little more than 50 million are traded every week in NFT only on the Ethereum blockchain. Because as I said, this is not for Flow, for Wax, and for all the other chains. So that's definitely not looking like a crash, but just some sort of a stabilization after a peak. And just to give you a little bit of context about this metric, there is a difference between total sales and total USD transacted. Basically, with NFTs, you can do a lot of things, but it's not just buying or selling the asset. You can interact with a smart contract, you can play, you can upgrade your asset. This is what we call the total USD transacted. All the other things you can do with NFTs, basically. So, yeah, I mean, from a personal standpoint, that just looks like a healthy ecosystem that is having some sort of a stabilization. And it's increasing at the very end of S1 2021. In terms of distribution, you know that NFTs can be used for gaming, for art, for sport, for thousands of use cases. And today, the most common use case in terms of USD traded is definitely collectible. And there's an explanation for that. Two explanations, actually. The first one is CryptoPunks. The second one is Meebits. I don't know if you've heard about these two projects from the same company, Lava Labs, but the prices went completely crazy. I mean, today the floor price of a CryptoPunk is something like 40,000 for just an image. Yeah, but that's crazy. But the thing is that there's a market for that. Just to be clear, if you look at the other volume for NBA Top Shot on Flow or other projects like that, the sports segment is way, way bigger than that. This is only for Ethereum. But on game and sports, you have, of course, Sorare on the Ethereum blockchain, but you have NBA Top Shot as well, that is not there. So, most people only look at the volume of USD traded. That's important, definitely. The size of the market is important. But the market is healthy just because there's a lot of people, because there is a community, because there are wallets and people that are actually buying or playing with the assets. So what you have there is the evolution of the sellers, the buyers, and the total active wallets that interact with NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. So, same, I mean, that doesn't look like a market crash. I mean, if you compare to a year and a half ago, everything is just way, way higher. So what we have today is a little more than 30,000 wallets interacting every week with NFTs for about 15,000 buyers and a little less sellers. What is important there as well is that there are more buyers than sellers. People are not leaving the space. There are more people that try to grab new assets than people trying to dump their assets, which is extremely important to monitor. What we've identified as well is that during the NFT craze of March, April, a lot of people arrived, of course a lot of new wallets arrived in the NFT space and tried to grab some assets or just discover what's going on. And we've looked at the retention rate of the NFT industry. And the retention rate is actually really good. A little more than 60,000 wallets arrived, new wallets arrived, and started to interact with NFTs. And 30% of them remained after the boom, after the complete craze. So, of course, it was definitely predictable that a lot of people just arrived, purchased an NFT, and were like, okay, that's it. There's nothing I can do with them, so, okay, I'm done. So, 30% of them remained after. And when you remember all these articles explaining that there was a market crash, that the bubble has burst and everything, at that time, in May, June, 75,000 new wallets interacted with NFTs. So more and more people arrive in the NFT industry, and more buyers arrive as well. So that's absolutely not a decrease, not even a stabilization. It's just definitely getting higher and faster, which is pretty cool. And just something else which is interesting, if you look at the line at the bottom, this 9,000, so basically that's what we consider as the really core of the NFT community. And that's tiny, 9,000 people, wallets, not people, that have been active since January until June. So something really important is that even if there is a crazy growth today, that's completely, that's a really small ecosystem. So the room to grow and to develop is absolutely incredible. We are just at the beginning of something. We've read as well that basically all the prices went down, that that there was just speculation, and after the speculation there was a massive dump. And same, I mean, if you look at CryptoPunks, the price went completely crazy. And there is something to consider as well for CryptoPunks and basically for NFTs, is that you purchase them mostly with ETH. So the value of ETH has an impact on the USD price as well. And I mean, I won't be too long about that, but there are two kind of approaches, two philosophy. The first one is to consider that the USD price is the reference. All the people that are outside of the crypto space that arrive in the NFT industry are like, my reference is the USD price. For an ETH maximalist, they just want more ETH. So whichever the price of ETH, as long as they get more ETH after the resale, they are richer. So from a USD standpoint, we can consider that they have lost money, but not for them. So that's why this kind of charts that take into account the USD price have to be read taking into account the ETH value as well. That's important. And what you have at the bottom is the average value of all the artworks sold on Super Rare, which is somehow the largest art marketplace. So same, I mean, there was a peak. It's not a crash, it's just getting higher compared to a year and a half ago. Yeah, this one is a little messy, I'm sorry. Basically, you have the average price of all the most liquid NFTs. So you have Sorare, Art Blocks, CryptoKitties, Ethereum Name Service, Decentraland, and the Sandbox, and non-origin. So same, if you compare to the really beginning there in 2020, the average price was something like 50, 100 USD for, as you can see, almost 1,000 for most of these projects. So, just to give you a global overview of the industry, so more active wallets, almost 200,000 active wallets in the past quarter, which is way more than the previous quarter. More buyers, more sellers, almost $1 billion traded only on NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain, which is massive, just massive. And we have a slight increase of something like 3,000% compared to past year, which is decent. So, before analyzing NFT markets and NFT-related data, there are a lot of questions that you have to keep in mind, because to be honest, it's not that easy to analyze NFT markets. Firstly, just double-check the sources. Where are the data are coming from? Who has scrubbed this data? How are they compiled? All this information, I mean, if you just look at other data providers, we're not the only one. I mean, if you look, I can mention them, I mean, if you look at Dapper or CryptoSlam and others, they don't necessarily track the same data as we do. There are dozens of approaches for that. So just be clear on what kind of data you have and what does that mean, and is that correlated to something else, to other announcements in the ecosystem, to the evolution of crypto markets as well. The second thing is that if you try to, invest or just buy something in a project, look at what we call the advanced metrics. Just consider the volume of USD traded is not enough. I mean, it can definitely be counterfeited. You can just have a lot of wash trading on this project, and you are looking at, 1 billion on a market. That's huge, but that can be fake. So just try to look at how many wallets, how loyal are they? Is there some sort of a liquidity, a retention in this community? So basically, just do your own research. Spend time. I mean, it's not easy. It's not something you can do just like that, buying something and making money. And NFTs are not meant just to be traded on the market. Initially, most of the NFTs are meant to do something with them. A domain name has definitely a use. So before purchasing something, ask you just this question: what is the use case? What am I going to do with that? Is it something that could be available tomorrow? And yeah, no, that's it. Oh, yeah, maybe one more thing. You may have seen in the previous slides, this one, that we talk about Sorare and Sol, CryptoKitties CK. In a project, you may have different kind of NFTs. So you may have what we call the NFT tickers. On Decentraland, which is a metaverse, you have the land, you have estates, you have wearables, you have the names. So don't consider only the average price for Decentraland. That doesn't mean anything. Just like looking at the average price of the real estate market all around the world. You won't have any useful information with that. So try to look at the really most detailed information you can find. And I think that's it. You globally have an overview of what's going on the NFT market. So. If you have any question, feel free.
Thanks a lot for the presentation. I had a question regarding your slide, which showed that about 70% of the traffic on Ethereum was just collectibles.
This one?
Before it was a pie chart. Yeah, that one. So how, for instance, how do you pick apart, for instance, Axie? Because Axie, you need a collectible to play it. So where exactly does Axie fit in these categories?
Axie Infinity, you mean?
Yep.
Axie Infinity is definitely a game. And the fact is that, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can consider almost everything as a collectible. If you collect houses, a house is a collectible. So if you collect Pokemon cards, it's supposed to be a game, that's a collectible. For Axies, they are initially meant to be part of a game where you can, battle your little Axies in an arena. So that's a game, but the thing is that they have moved to running, which is a sidechain that we are about to track as well in a couple of weeks. So if you go back to nonfungible.com in something like a month from now, you'll have all this data about updated Axie Infinity and everything. So yeah, that's a game.
Looking to the picture, where do you think the trend is going now? Because I think a lot of people are now using the collectibles, and where it's going now, from your point of view?
Actually, that's interesting. That's a good question, because collectibles were not that big 6 months ago. But with this new community arriving in the space, this new community of people that are not extremely tech savvy or that don't really understand what they can do with NFTs, the most basic use case is owning something. You purchase the asset, you own the asset, and that's it. Collectibles are the perfect fit for that. Actually, there is nothing you can do with collectibles. You collect them, and that's it. So that's why it's a really simple to understand use case for newcomers. But down the road, we know that gaming and sports are extremely massive. I mean, if you look at Sorare, for example, or NBA Top Shot, I mean, there is definitely something. People are crazy about sports plus NFT makes sense. There is definitely something about truly owning something about your favorite club. We've seen massive traction last year about art, and same this year with Beeple artwork sold for 69 million a couple of months ago. So honestly, I think that collectibles are definitely going to decrease in the next few months, and we'll see more and more gaming, art, sport. Utilities are still extremely tiny. Behind utilities, you have all the domain names, ticketing, all these use cases that are more related to use case, or related to the real world use case. That's still a niche segment for now.
Hi, I have a question. So we're seeing a lot more companies interested to make NFTs in gaming, in art, right? But the question they always seem to have is like, which platform should we use? Does it matter which blockchain protocol we use? Should we use Ethereum, Hive, Wax? Which one? What would your recommendation be, or what is your point of view on this trend?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question, because each blockchain, each platform, I mean, you can choose the blockchain, and on the blockchain, for example, for an artist, you can choose different marketplaces. So there is definitely a choice to make at the very beginning. Historically, Ethereum is the main blockchain for NFTs. Is it the best one? I don't know, honestly. Because if you look at what people do with the sidechains, with Ronin, with Polygon, for example, in terms of fees, in terms of fast transaction, that's definitely way more info. So I won't recommend a specific chain or platform today, but you definitely need to do your own research and just look at, is it truly decentralized? Is that a good fit for your project in terms of scalability, of fees, this kind of thing? If you know that you have to interact with the chain every second, you can't pay fees each time. So this is the kind of thing that you have to consider.
So coming back to Here.
Yeah.
Coming back to collectibles, do you have an idea of the breakdown, for instance, with crypto avatars that we've seen surging nowadays with projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club, Cool Cats, Gauthier Gang? Do you have a breakdown of how much the portion of these are in the collectibles segment?
I don't have the figures in mind right now. I know that some of them, like Bored Ape Yacht Club and others, made a really massive volume. We consider them as collectibles. But what we've seen recently is, honestly, hundreds of copycats of CryptoPunks, just because it's extremely easy, basically, to recreate 10,000 units of something. We've seen, honestly, we have listed them recently on the platform, so we have spent with the rest of the team too much time just looking at this project. And when you see 10,000 blah 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 unique blah blah blah, I mean, yeah, that's just a CryptoPunks copycat. So, yeah.
What blockchain do you currently track on non-fungible?
Ethereum.
Ethereum.
Only
and
Ethereum.
Are you planning on expanding?
Absolutely. In a couple of weeks, we'll be tracking Wax, Flow, Polygon, Ronin. Did I forget one? Tezos as well. And that's it. And Loom as well. And the Binance Smart Chain. So yeah, I think that's the exhaustive list. Yep.
I've got a question regarding composability. So that's one of the use cases of NFTs, and it's been touted as the one thing that you can do. You get a CryptoKitty, and then you put it into another game. Is it something that you're actually seeing, or is it something that you actually are able to track?
Actually, at the top of my mind, I don't know. We don't see much interoperability between projects because, in most cases, issuing your own NFTs, your own token, is part of your business model. You have to create your assets, sell them, and you are funded like that. So we haven't seen much. In some cases, we've seen basically people that display their artworks from Super Rare in Decentraland, for example. That's some sort of, let's say, basic use case of displaying your assets in a metaverse. Metaverse are just large boxes where you can display anything you want. So no, we don't see much of that. That's definitely, in my opinion, one of the most valuable opportunity with NFTs, to be able to use any NFT in any game or any platform all around the world. But I think that will arrive down the road with a larger community, with thousands and thousands of new developers in the space. Any other question, maybe? No? Looks like we're good. Thank you. Thank you so much.